Very good morning to everyone. My name is Priya. Today I'll be presenting to you on mental illnesses. I'd just like to start off by showing this screenshot of our survey results. The question asked was, have you ever used depressed as a synonym for sad? And a large majority of you guys said yes. And I'm not surprised because I've personally used it so many times before. Even Thesaurus.com defines sad as depressed. Now when we use the word depressed, we don't use it with the intention of hurting people who actually went through depression. We're just using it as a way to express our feelings. But when we so casually use this word depressed, right, we fail to realize the root word is depression, which is an actual mental illness. We're actually downplaying what these people are actually suffering, because being depressed is so much more than being sad over a midterm results or being sad over a breakup. So this brings me to the topic at hand, which is society's stigmatization of mental illnesses. Now, how exactly are the mentally ill stigmatized by society? They find it, after recovery, they find it difficult to gain employment because, according to real-life accounts from actual people who have tried to seek employment, they feel that employers might reject them on the basis of their mental health history because they might have preconceived notions about how they might behave. They think that they can't work as efficiently, or they might be prone to violent outbursts on the job itself. And this is because society on the whole has negative connotations, negative stereotypes attached to being a mentally ill patient. Very ironically, the word patient itself suggests that mental illnesses are viewed as sickness, and people might think that these people are violent, they're unpredictable, we don't know how to react, we don't know how to approach them. And because we fail to understand them, we tend to alienate them from society as well. I'm so sorry. I'll be covering the causes of the stigma. The first cause would be the lack of awareness and the trivialization of mental illnesses. According to a study conducted by the Institute of Mental Health in 2014, 9 in 10 respondents believed that mentally ill could simply get better if they wanted to, which means that, for example, I have a friend who's going through depression. I just tell my friend, oh, you can just have sunny thoughts, just cheer up, it'll be fine. But that's not how it works. What they need is actual psychiatric treatment, not our terrible advice. And 6 in 10 respondents believe that mentally ill people are unpredictable. So this reinforces my earlier point on how there are negative stereotypes attached to psychological disorders. Now, second, I'm showing you this screenshot of the survey that I asked you guys to do. What do you think is the estimated percentage of people with mental illnesses who are unemployed? A large majority say 45%, when the actual answer is 70%. Second question was, prior to taking the survey, do you know what the leading mental illnesses in Singapore were? Large majority said no. And for information, according to IMH, the first one, most common was depression, followed by alcohol abuse, and the third one is OCD. I didn't even know that alcohol abuse was classified as a mental illness until I did my research on this. So the second cause for the stigma would be inaccurate depiction of mental illnesses in the media. I think we've watched at least one film in which mentally ill people are portrayed as serial killers, mostly in horror movies, even movies like Shutter Island, Silence of the Lambs. According to this scholar, Stephen Hyler, he actually said that mostly mentally ill people are mostly portrayed as either homicidal criminals, narcissistic bosses, or female seductresses. They're basically portrayed in a negative light. And apart from films, even in newspapers, misleading headlines. If you look at this, right, bonkers Bruno locked up, 1,200 killed by mental patients, psycho carries rampage on CCTV. But it's associating words like mental, psycho, violence, brutality. Mass media is playing a huge role in perpetuating these negative stereotypes against mental illnesses. Moving on. But at this point in time, you might be thinking, so how does this concern me? Because I'm perfectly fine right now. I'm such a happy person. I won't get a mental illness. If you look at the statistics, right, 6.5% chance of being affected by anxiety and depression in our lifetime. And most notably this one, 15.7% chance of suffering from a minor psychiatric illness. is actually higher than the chances of you winning a 4D consolation prize. And people still bet their life savings on 4D. It's actually 1 in 1,000. So since there's such a high probability of you or me getting diagnosed with mental illness, even our loved ones might also get a mental illness. And this is why we need to start caring about mental illnesses. We need to stop stigmatizing them and try to empathize with them. So I'll move on to Renee, who will cover more on the misconceptions and effects of the stigma.
Thank you, Priya. Like Priya mentioned, there are many misconceptions associated with mental illnesses. According to IMH, there are a few of them. And as she has also mentioned, one of the most common stigmas is that people with mental conditions are more violent and dangerous. So we actually included this question in our survey, and these are the results. As you can see, the majority of you chose 1.5 times, while the least number of you chose 1 time. When in actual fact, the truth is, patients with mental illness are no more violent than other people. However, like many of you, I too used to have this misconception, but this changed after I started volunteering at IMH. I still recall how on my first experience there, I was with a group of other first-time volunteers. We were walking past this ward. And then we encountered this elderly patient who started waving really frantically to us, and he pressed his face against the glass window and gave us this really wide grin and basically kept gesturing to us, beckoning us to enter. Being new to this experience, we were not sure how to react, and we just gave each other this nervous smile before we kind of came to this consensus that, well, he posed a dangerous threat to us, and we just quickly shuffled away. However, later when we passed by the same ward with a senior nurse, we encountered the same patient in the same ward, and he did the exact same thing. This time though, the nurse saw our discomfort and she quickly explained the situation. You see, this patient was actually an avid fan of drawing, and thus, he gets really excited whenever he sees a group of volunteers as he associates them to the drawing sessions held. And this revelation really struck me. You see, due to our preconceived notions that the mentally ill patients are dangerous, we immediately associated his actions as one with ill intentions, when actually his intentions were as pure as simple as wanting to draw with us. And thus, this brings me to the point about how it's very, very essential for us to start talking about this issue. You see, there's a self-perpetuating cycle when it comes to mental illnesses. The lack of awareness regarding the issue leads to a perpetuation of stigmas, and this thus leads to mental illnesses becoming a taboo subject, which further prevents discussion about it. However, many of you may feel that this issue is not worthy of discussion as it affects a very insignificant proportion of the population. Thus, we actually included this question in our survey, and as you can see, majority of you chose 1 in 10, and the least number of you chose 1 in 6. If you remember the first question I showed, the correct answer was the one with the least respondents, and similarly, the correct answer again is the one with the least respondents, which is 1 in 6. That's right. Due to this misconception that it affects a very, very insignificant proportion of people, you can see why many fail to realize the importance of it and thus not see the need to raise awareness for it. But now that you know about it, what can you do? So let me go back to my story about volunteering at IMH. Again, my group feels that volunteering at IMH is immensely beneficial for your understanding, as you can not only be able to get a very good understanding of the situation, and it can also help those who are directly affected by the mental illnesses. But before I go on, let me take a look at some of the concerns that you may have. As you can see, according to the survey, unsure of how to start and lack of time are 2 of the primary concerns that you have raised. Thus, let me go about addressing it for you. Firstly, unsure of how to start. How do you start volunteering at IMH? Contrary to popular belief, it's actually really very simple. All you have to do is fill out an online form on their website, and well, that's about it. So now let's move on to time constraints. So as you can see, there's varying levels of commitment, willingness to commit among the class itself. However, the thing about volunteering at IMH is that it's actually very flexible. This is one of the weekly schedule of IMH, and actually prior to going there, all you have to do is email them a week before, like email the person in charge or message them, and that's it. So as you can see, there's different time slots to cater to your different schedules. However, if you still feel that volunteering at IMH is too big a step, or if you're still not convinced, there are other ways you can help, and these are like small steps that you can do. Firstly, you can raise awareness about the issue. As we have already mentioned, the crux of this issue lies in the ignorance about it. So what you can do is simply to start talking about this issue with those you are close to. Additionally, around NUS itself, there's already been campaigns starting to talk about this issue. So you can simply contribute by participating in it. Next, you can show support to those who are close to you who may be suffering from mental illnesses. This includes learning how to identify possible symptoms so that you can encourage them to seek treatment so as to speed up the recovery process. Thirdly and lastly, as Priya mentioned from the very start, a very, very simple thing you can do is to be mindful of your own words. such as not using sad as a synonym of depressed, as this trivializes the situation. So now before I end off, let me share with you one of my personal favorite quotes by Mahatma Gandhi. In a gentle way, you can shake the world. Your individual contributions are significant and can change and alleviate this situation. So start acting and make our society a better one. Thank you. Any of you have any questions?
As I mentioned, the patients in IMH usually they're suffering from mental illnesses, and they're usually in a serious stage, which explains why they are there. But and rather from other people in the society who might be suffering from a lighter symptom of depression, etc., they might not be seeking help at the hospitals. So, and there are so many organizations in Singapore, charity organizations, or old folks home. They are seeking volunteers. So why should we volunteer at the IMH when it's only affecting a small proportion of people of them who are among the extremes, and rather other organizations that require our help?
We said that only those who are experiencing very severe mental, like the severe spectrum of the mental illnesses are IMH. Actually, that's like a misconception in itself. So actually, IMH has a lot of wards, and one of them is includes a long stay ward. So in fact, many of the patients, they are actually they are almost recovery, but the thing is that they still stay there because, for example, there's no family members who are willing to allow them to be discharged or take them in. So it's not that only there's a very small group of them there and they are the ones who are suffering from really extreme ends. And anyway, our message is not really about just it's also more about raising awareness about the whole issue. And so, okay, wait, let me just go to let me get to the topic. So on your question about why we feel that you should thus volunteer at IMH and not any other organization. You see, what we're trying to say is that there's already a lot of stigmatization about the issue, and thus actually IMH faces a really huge shortage of volunteers. That's why, as you can see, it's actually very simple to volunteer and it's very flexible because they realize that it's very hard to get volunteers. That's why we are trying to raise awareness about the issue.
I got a question. So before you mentioned there's 1 in 6 Singaporeans who suffer from mental illnesses, right? So there'll be a spectrum of people who suffer from mental illness, but they don't receive medical attention. They don't want to go to IMH for fear of social stigma. So for example, if you have a friend who's you see that he may be potentially suffering these symptoms, but you want to help him, but he rejects your help. He doesn't want to be associated with that kind of illnesses, right? What's the best approach to this issue?
So basically, a question is, if I have a friend who I suspect has mental illness, and how do I approach my friend? Basically?
He's very denial about. Yeah.
Alright. Okay. So basically, I think the best way to do it is, I think we should take matters into our own hands because we're not qualified professionals. We don't know how to tackle this. So I think if it's my friend, I would maybe inform the school's counselor, because I think they would be able to refer my friend to an actual psychiatrist who might be able to help him out. But basically, but the most important thing is that, my friend is rejecting help because he or she is afraid of being associated with a mental illness. But I think me and my friends should support my friend by saying that it's alright if you're going through a mental illness, because it's not something to be ashamed of. It's just something it's just a problem, and we are here to help you, here to support you. And this is what we can do as a friend, a support system kind of thing. I think the most important thing is to refer your friend to a counselor or psychiatrist.
Next question?
Of course.
I wanted to find out, it is actually quite easy for us to volunteer. How can we get rid of or come a little way in moving, that sense of inertia from people, towards and moving a step positively towards helping, people with mental illnesses? How can we, you stated many steps, all right, but the very first thing that we, what can we do, like for example, within our class, what would you suggest that we can do as a class?
Thank you for your question. Let's discuss. Can we discuss this more?
On a more micro level, like from our classroom itself, we can begin by keeping a lookout for any warning signs that our friend might be disturbed by mental illness. Signs include sudden withdrawal from society, not in society, from taking part in activities, and keeping a lookout for our friends basically. Because normally, I had a friend who went through depression, and I had no idea she was actually suffering from depression because she didn't show any signs of it. She didn't tell us anything about it because she was scared that we might ostracize her, label her as crazy and stuff like that. And I think your question, the answer to your question also lies in the last 3 points of our presentation. Just basic awareness, because from the survey results, it kind of revealed that we didn't have much knowledge of the issue. So we can begin by reading up on statistics. Whenever you see a news article on mental illnesses in newspaper, read it. Find out more about what are the common mental illnesses we are facing and how we can, help people like that, or how we can prevent such occurrences. And secondly, support loved ones. If we have like what Cornelius mentioned, if you have a friend we suspect has a mental illness, reach out to a friend instead of shunning a friend away, and try to get psychiatric treatment or counseling help for your friend. The third one would be, this is a very simple one, be mindful of your choice of words, not only the usage of the word depressed. Even, I've heard people use the word autistic, OCD, bipolar, because if someone has mood swings, we call a person bipolar. These are actually really insensitive usage of these terms. I think we can start refraining from the usage of these terms and be more sensitive towards mental illnesses. I think it all starts from within. When we empathize with them, we will naturally want to help them and reach out to them. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, actually on that note, I wanted to add that I was quite depressed. Sorry, I shouldn't use the word depressed, this is wrong. I was a little sad because when I was doing my assessment,